The following organizations have provided funding for this Into the Outdoors television series.
U.S. farmers produce about 12 billion bushels of corn each year, and each year about 3 billion of those bushels are actually used to make ethanol, leaving plenty of corn left over to feed farm animals and to go into ice cream. Ethanol is a clean-burning, renewable fuel that's really good for the environment, and it's being made right here in Wisconsin. Every year, more and more locally grown corn is being trucked to plants like this, where it is converted into ethanol. So you want to know how a kernel of corn goes from the field to your gas tank, right? Well, the first thing you need to know is that only a portion of each corn kernel that comes to an ethanol plant actually gets used to make ethanol. The kernels are actually separated during a process called dry mill fractionation. We're here at the Renew Energy ethanol plant in Jefferson, which is the largest dry mill facility in the world. This plant produces 130 million gallons of ethanol every year, using 40 million bushels of corn. Most of that corn is grown right here in Wisconsin. So are you going to show me how we go from corn to all of this?
Here at Renew Energy, we do it a little bit different than a traditional ethanol plant. We fractionate our corn, which means we separate it into its components. If you can imagine a hard-boiled egg as a kernel of corn, you take the shell of the hard-boiled egg off, which is the bran, the outside, the pericarp of the corn kernel. Then you take the yolk out, which is the germ, and then the whites that are left of the hard-boiled egg is the same as the starch of a corn kernel. From here, we ferment and create ethanol out of the starch. We create CO2, which is used in the food and the beverage industry.
Like sodas?
Yeah. Like soda?
Mm-hmm.
We also create alcohol. So the starch, we create CO2, we create alcohol, we create corn oil, which we use in the biodiesel, manufacturing biodiesel, and then we have the remaining feed products.
So just one bushel of corn can make around 3 gallons of ethanol, about 1/10 of a gallon of biodiesel, about 18.5 pounds of carbon dioxide, over a pound of food-grade corn oil, about 3 pounds of bran, about 6 pounds of germ, and over 11 pounds of high-protein animal feed.
Do you want to go out in the plant and see how actually we do all this?
Yeah, let's go. Hundreds of truckloads of corn are brought to the Renew Energy plant every day, sometimes as many as 300 per day. Each truck is weighed before it can unload its corn. When the corn is brought to Renew Energy to be made into ethanol, the kernel is separated into starch and other fractions. The starch pieces are mixed with water to form a mash. It takes 2.7 gallons of water to produce a gallon of ethanol. That may sound like a lot, but not when it's compared to the 92.5 gallons of water used to make just 1 gallon of gasoline. In the dry milling process, enzymes are added to the mash to break down the starch into a simple sugar. Yeast is then added to the mash to start the fermentation process, just like the way beer is made, but this creates ethanol and carbon dioxide. The process generally takes about 40 to 50 hours. After fermentation, the ethanol is separated out. The ethanol is then blended with a small amount of regular gasoline, and it's ready to be shipped out to gas stations across the country. Those gas stations mix the ethanol with more gasoline and then market it as either E85, which contains 85% ethanol, E20, which is 20% ethanol, or E10, which is 10% ethanol. Ethanol used by U.S. drivers in 2006 alone reduced greenhouse gas emissions by 8 million tons. That's like taking more than 1 million cars off the road. By using ethanol, your family is also supporting Wisconsin farmers and the rest of the state's economy. Today, Wisconsin produces nearly 600 million gallons of ethanol per year, adding over $1 billion to Wisconsin's economy. And when your family buys ethanol at Wisconsin gas stations, that money stays right here in the Badger State. A locally grown renewable product that gives back to the community and is good for the environment. Ethanol truly is the fuel of our future.